Good morning, beautiful people. My name is Ismail Chi, and today we're going to talk about the care guide for the leopard gecko, a very common reptile that's very easy to take care of. But in this context, I had a lot of care guides. They were deleted because of things that happened on YouTube. I've already fixed them, but I feel like this is valuable information that I want to preserve so that everyone can have it. So welcome, and let's get started. But before we begin, as always, remember to get captive bred specimens and check the legalities in your country. Also, don't buy any specimen on impulse. Do your research and set up your enclosure, your aquarium, your tank before getting the specimen. Because then you buy it, you get home from wherever you bought it, and you say, oh, now what? Well, you have to be prepared. Now let's get started. First of all, the enclosure. How big does the tank I'm going to buy need to be? A minimum of 25 gallons, 25-30 gallons. I have mine in a 40-gallon tank, and I think it's perfect. Anyway, my leopard gecko isn't very active, to be honest, but 25-30 gallons is a minimum. Remember not to cohabitate, meaning don't buy two leopard geckos and put them together. Why? Because there's a lot of aggression in nature. It's interesting. These will never be alone, they'll always be in groups. However, my hypothesis is that in captivity, since they're in a 40-gallon tank, they get stressed. There's no territory like there would be in the wild. They end up fighting and there are many cases of aggression, so be careful, just buy one, and if you buy two, keep them in separate tanks, please. Substrate refers to the soil you'll use. Many people use paper towels and replace them when the animal soils them, which works well. That sounds boring to me? I always prefer a bioactive tank with real soil, a soil prepared for potted plants combined with a bit of silica sand. And that would be perfect, but a lot of times people say, what's up with impaction? My leopard gecko isn't going to die. No, don't worry. In nature, how do you think they are? The leopard geckos? They're not on paper towels, man, but anyway, for that, I also take some precautions. Well, context for impaction is when leopard geckos, or any animal in general, have intestinal blockages. Here, it's because they accidentally ingest small rocks, dirt, or inorganic material, which builds up in their intestines and causes a blockage. And you have to go to the vet as an emergency. What I do to prevent this is feed my leopard gecko in a small terracotta dish that cost me 15 pesos, and that's it before feeding him. I clean it, well, I shake it off, put it where it should be, there, place the insect with tweezers, and that's it. He doesn't eat any small rocks. It's also important to have a slightly deep bowl with water, like this one, so he can get in and out easily. And also, of course, hides so he feels safe. I will always recommend at least 2 hides, one on one side, another on the other, where he can settle in. Temperature and humidity gradients. We'll get to the parameters in a moment, but basically, we want to create a temperature and humidity gradient in the enclosure so they feel comfortable. Let's remember that these reptiles are ectotherms. Ectotherms. I'm kind of obsessed with the gym lately. They're ectotherms, meaning their body temperature, metabolism, and digestion all depend on the ambient temperature. So if they feel comfortable in a warmer spot, they can stay there, and if they want to cool off a bit, they can move somewhere else to regulate their own metabolism. And since we're talking about that, let's move on to the parameters, meaning temperature and humidity. Here I'll show you the temperature parameters, and here are the humidity ones. We're going to control the temperature with a heating pad that we'll place under the tank. And how are we going to control the temperature? Or how much does that heating pad actually heat up? With a connected and programmed digital thermostat, that's it. And the humidity, how are we going to control it? Well, on the humid side, we're going to put the water bowl, and we'll also be misting every day, once or even once every 2 days. And really, humidity for these specimens isn't very demanding, from 20 to 40, which is what your area, I'm assuming, will normally have as humidity. Just make sure it doesn't go over 60 because then it could have some respiratory problems, so be careful. You can buy a hygrometer, but honestly, I don't think it's necessary for these specimens. It's very easy and they're really tough, and honestly, it's pretty hard to mess it up. By the way, I'm going to be showing you plenty of examples of enclosures here so you can get a bit of inspiration. Visit Pinterest or watch YouTube videos. Before discussing the diet, please subscribe. Also, lighting is very important. I mean, I have a heat lamp here, but honestly, that's more for the plants. What I mean by lighting is that you should have a window or use a timer light so he knows when it's day and when it's night, so he has a circadian rhythm, you know? But anyway, diet. I give mine superworms, dubia roaches, and crickets. It's the most common, it works perfectly, and that's it. Of course, you're going to have to deal with insects. What a surprise. They have to be alive. Mine doesn't accept anything dead, and probably yours won't either, so you're going to have to get over your fear of insects. Oh well, I feed them with these tweezers, and they're dusted with calcium and multivitamins, because yes, they're going to need you to supplement them with calcium and vitamin D. And speaking of that, let's talk about ultraviolet B bulbs. A lot of people say they need them, others say they don't. I honestly say they don't need them because they're crepuscular. I mean, well, sometimes I do see him awake during the day, but it's very rare. I think I've only seen him awake during the day twice, and I've had him for 5 years. They don't need ultraviolet B bulbs. Ultraviolet B bulbs basically mimic sunlight. I hope you can't hear my dogs barking. But anyway, we were talking about ultraviolet B rays, and basically they mimic the sun to help with intestinal calcium absorption and to prevent what's known as metabolic bone disease. Here's what it is. I'll show some examples. It's not pleasant, but it happens. With calcium and vitamin D supplements, there shouldn't be issues. I gave him this brand here. I tried to look for it, but I couldn't find it. I bought it at Petco, a little bottle for $10. I live near the border, so I got a discount. No, that's it. Once a week, you can give them a supplement twice, and that's it. Really. Now, how much do they eat? It will depend on each individual. I feed mine once every 2 days and as much as he wants. 1, 2, 3, up to 4 superworms can be eaten in one go, but put them in the tongs. He will decide if he's interested or not. Normally, he gets very active here, very alert to see if he wants to eat or not, and if he doesn't want to, he simply turns away and leaves. Damn, that's what usually happens. Really. Mine doesn't eat much, but a good sign to know if he's healthy, besides eating, is the tail. They store energy as fat in their tails. If the tail is thick, the gecko is healthy, and mine has a nice one. Lastly, I just wanted to talk about 2 very important things. The first is that when you get him, he probably won't eat. You'll buy him, put him in his enclosure. He'll be stressed, he probably won't accept food for a week. You should still offer it, but he probably won't eat. When I got mine, he didn't eat for 2 weeks. I was really stressed and thought he might die. No, it was normal, so don't worry if 2 weeks go by and he doesn't eat. And another very important thing, when do you get him? If you get him during the winter and it's really cold, I'm probably going to go into brumation. Brumation is a state where basically the temperature drops, the air pressure drops. And like I said, leopard geckos and almost all reptiles are, well, I don't know if all, there are always exceptions in biology. They are ectotherms, which means their body temperature and metabolism depend on the ambient temperature. When it's winter and it's cold, they go into brumation, which is a state of lethargy where they are awake but they really don't eat. Remember that their digestion also depends on the ambient temperature. If it's cold, they can't digest, so they won't eat and they won't use energy. So don't worry, mine goes into brumation for about 4, 5, even more months, and it's normal. I'm already used to it, so don't worry. Do your research, please, watch other videos, and be happy. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Check with the vet, by the way, annually, and I think that would be all. As I always tell you, remember to follow me and love nature. Thank you very much. If so, let me know in the comments too. What animal would you like me to make a care guide about? Because I had to delete a ton, so well, goodbye.